Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. I hope we're all well. I hope obviously your Monday looks a lot better than your Sunday evening looked. We're going to be talking a little bit about the game, my thoughts about where we are, where probably we need to look to change, and just a general moan, I guess, is probably the best way to describe this video. Yesterday was a howler. It was a humbler, and it was brutal to watch. If I'm honest, the first 45 minutes. That might be one of the worst 45 minutes as we've seen this season, and we've seen some bloody stinkers. We looked like the away team. The fans couldn't get in the game because we hadn't started the game very well. And there's a lot of things that I think need to change. Let's start from back to front. I've for years have been one of Hugo's biggest fans. I think, as a out and out shot stopper, I always thought he was absolutely world class. Not very good with his feet, but absolutely world-class shot stopper. The mistakes have started to creep in more and more regularly now, whereas it used to be one every month or every 2 months and then Hugo was stellar for the rest of the time. Now it seems like it's every couple of games. There seems to be a mistake that he's made. In the last couple of games, you could say he's been at fault for pretty much us dropping points because of the fact that, hey, he's had some absolute clangers, even for the second goal, he wasn't even standing in the middle of the goal. I'm not going to say that was all his fault. I mean, the defence decided to let Erdegaard just push on with the ball and then hit it from 25 yards. Great finish, but no one pressed him down and Hugo wasn't standing in the middle of his goal. If he stood in the middle of his goal, he might have had a chance. But the first goal is a calamity. Absolutely awful. It set the game up, basically, for us to try and chase it. And we're pretty good at that. But we didn't, It's easy to do it away to Brentford. And it's easy to do it against teams that maybe aren't the level of Arsenal or a top 6 team. But we can't always do that, There's not always this gust of energy that we're going to have that's going to get us back into games all the time. It's a worry when we don't score first because we're going to have to score 2 or 3 just to get a point, Palace was the ultimate change of that, but at the same time, for the first half in that game, we were rubbish. So it doesn't really change anything. That was the first goal. The second goal, midfield non-existent. I think a lot of people have been letting quite a few of these players just kind of skimp through and just say, you know what, we're not playing very well. It's not everyone's blah, 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 blah. Let's be frank. From back to front, Lloris hasn't been good enough. Romero's not been good at all this season, in my opinion. Dyer's regressed. Longley, actually, I think has been all right. But again, it's quite hard to defend 5 players worth of positions when you're one dude. Session was below average. Normally you think, well, if he's not going to give a lot going forward, defensively he's normally quite sound. He was neither of those things. Making rash challenges on Saka. Saka bullied him all game. And normally, Session's done pretty well against those sort of players. But not good enough. Doherty, not good enough. And the big thing I have with these 2 wing-backs positions is they seem to get the ball, look up and go, I'll go backwards. I don't want to lose the ball. I don't want to get the fans booing me. And that is so evident. They don't run at players. At least Perisic runs at the defender, tries to take him on, does something. Hell, even Emerson half the time tries to go forward. Doherty is the safest player going because he just doesn't want to look like an idiot. But he's not good enough at the moment. Højbjerg's fallen off a cliff because Bentancur's not there, and it shows how far Bentancur is clear of our other centre mids. Papa Metassar's first debut, I'm not going to put the blame on him. I thought he did some good things. I think he did some bad things. But he's 20 years old and it's his first game and it was a North London derby. There's not many things more difficult than that when you come into a Spurs team. Front 3, Son is... I don't know what has happened to that dude. That guy has gone from being one of the best attackers in world football to being a player that should play for a relegation team in the Premier League, if not further down the list. Not good enough. Just flat out not good enough at the moment. Richarlison comes on. Richarlison tries. He gives his all for the club. Son, it's like he gets the ball and it's like, wait for it. Yeah, there he goes, lost it. Or wait for it. There he goes, misplaced the pass. Kulusevski struggled yesterday, but it's his first game back. He struggled a little bit to get on the ball and Kane was non-existent. So there's not one player in that team that I could sit there and say, hey, they were actually okay. They weren't at fault. They weren't the issue. It was a team collective fault. It isn't good enough. The fact that we finished above Arsenal last year, they've recruited some really decent players in the summer. So have we. I'm not saying we haven't. But why is it that we've actually regressed out of the top four and they kick towards first? You can't give me the idea that they've got a better run of fixtures when they play Thursday night and Sunday night. We know that as a club, that sucks. They're doing it and they're actually first and 8 points clear of Manchester City. So this partially comes down to obviously the players not being good enough. This comes down to Conte not being good enough. He keeps talking about how I'm proud of my players for their effort. Are you watching the same game that all of us are watching? Because I'm not seeing this. I'm not seeing the effort. I'm not seeing the patterns of play. And it also comes down to the board. We haven't spent well for a very long time, if at all, under this regime. We don't invest properly. We spent all this money in the summer, 150 million. We had all this money in the summer to go and invest this money. Here's a war chest. We're going to really kick on this summer. We're going to catch the top two. Well, we caught Liverpool, but we're even still further behind Man City, who are struggling a little bit this season. What the hell's happened there? You can't tell me that club of Tottenham stature, the way they were going, have been caught by Manchester United and overtaken by a club that, let's be honest, Man United have been rubbish for years. And Newcastle, who were in a relegation battle a year ago. So you can't tell me that this should be happening. We should be where Man City are, at least touching distance to first. We shouldn't be, 16, 17 points behind Arsenal halfway through a season. That's unacceptable from everyone involved. We're sitting here on the 16th of January with no new signings. Nobody's at the door and no new signings. Is Paratici alive? Is Levy alive? What's going on? Evidently need multiple people and we refuse to bring anyone in. I just don't get it. I'm going to simmer. We need investment. We need to get lucky, I think, in a few games and build that form up. We've got City next, and that is going to be a brutal thing. So I think they're going to come in pissed off and ready to kick the crap out of us. And that could be a hiding in, ready to happen, okay? But anyway, guys, that's enough of my rant. That's enough of the video. Look, I know it was a miserable Sunday. We got us to pick ourselves up and go again this week. Let me know in the comments what you think about the game. Like, comment, subscribe. Anyway, guys, that's enough from me. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care.